Greetings, fellow fungus festers. This is Nikki. Come with me for a walk in the woods. Let's see what the forest has to offer. There should be mushrooms out. Today I hope to show you two of the most common choice edible mushrooms that I find in Prince William Sound. This is Zwerver. She's a Dutch sailing barge in my house. I've lived on her for over 25 years. Zwerver means wanderer in Dutch. Zwerver and I wander all about Prince William Sound when it isn't winter time. Every few days we change our backyard, anchoring in a different pretty cove or bay. This particular backyard with a waterfall is called Jack Bay. It's about 20 miles from Valdez. In Jack Bay there's this pretty little island I call Fungi Island. I call it Fungi Island because the first time my gentleman friend Paul and I went there in 2007, we found lots of big hedgehog mushrooms. I always find fungi on Fungi Island, but I don't think I've ever been back at the end of October again, so I don't think I've ever found hedgehogs that big again. It's August now when we're taking this walk, so I don't expect to find huge hedgehogs, but there should be some little guys. It's a cloudy, misty morning, but it's not raining, so it's a good time for a walk on Fungi Island. I paddle Harriet in my fearless inflatable kayak to shore, landing on a nice gravelly beach. I would love to make a video of this little foray, but I can barely chew gum and walk at the same time, much less hold a camera steady while stumbling through the woods. So I'll just take photos for a slideshow. You'll get the idea. Oh, those woods look inviting. Sometimes there are some hedgehog mushrooms right here where the little animal trail meets the beach, but not today. It's still early in mushroom season, and there hasn't been much rain in the last month. Let's wander up the trail a ways, wondering if we'll find anything at all. Nearly all of my mushroom hunting has been in Prince William Sound. When I went to Girdwood to the fungus fair, I was amazed at all the boletes they have over there. I hardly ever find any boletes in the Sound. Occasionally I find one or two admirable boletes, but certainly not the big numbers they have over there. What we have for edibles in Prince William Sound is lots of yellowfoot chanterelles and hedgehog mushrooms. Fortunately, both are choice edibles, and they are nearly idiot-proof. By the end of the walk today, you should be able to confidently identify both. So here at the top of the trail, I look over the forest, and I'm a little distressed. I don't see any mushrooms. But wait, that looks like it might be a chanterelle, tucked in the moss. Oh, and there's another. This is getting exciting. I might have mushrooms for dinner tonight. Let's get closer. Yes, there are several chants tucked in the moss, just waiting for me to show you. I get out my trusty chant scissors. Notice the pink flagging? Little scissors can just disappear when left in the moss. I tie flagging to nearly everything I carry into the woods. So, how do I know that these are Chanterelles tubiformis, also known as yellowfoot chanterelles or winter chanterelles? Well, first I see that they are a distinctive shade of yellow-orange. There are other mushrooms this color, but it's not the only characteristic to look for. They all have dips in the center, sometimes actually holes that go down into hollow stems. See the hollow stems here? I think the name tubiformis refers to the tube-like stems. And yellowfoot chanterelles always have yellow feet. That is, the base of the stem is yellow. But the real censure that they are a yellowfoot chanterelle is under the cap. Look at those light-colored ridges and folds. They are very distinctive. There are other mushrooms in Prince William Sound with ridges and folds, but they aren't light-colored. They're blue or black. And those ridges sort of run down the stem, blending into the smooth orange tan part. That's distinctive. Here's a picture of a mushroom about the same size, with white gills sort of running down into a tan stem. But notice I said gills, not folds. It's got gills, like little knife-like blades hanging down from the cap. They form straight lines radiating out from the stem. The gills might be forked at the end, but they are definitely gills. And here's another mushroom, sort of chanterelle colored, but with yellow gills, not light colored or white folds. See the difference? Okay, you got yellowfoot chanterelles down pat. We'll probably find some more, but let's mosey along and see if we can find one of the other idiot-proof mushrooms I mostly forage for. There isn't much that's bright white in the woods except seashells dropped by birds and mushrooms. So keep your eyes peeled for something white. Do you see it? Aren't those little white spots on the ground behind that little bush? Yes, I think they are. Oh, let's look closer. Oh, yay. Looks like we found some hedgehog mushrooms. Hiding them or pan them. For some folks in the Cordova area and out in the Sound, these are the choicest edibles and the only ones they go after. It's nice because they often occur in large numbers and they live in the same habitat as yellowfeet. Let's pull up a couple of these and look up close. Note they are white to creamy on top, sometimes a little tannish or orangish, but they have bright white teeth and stems. Did you hear me? I said teeth, not gills, not folds, but teeth. Little spiky spines hanging down off the cap. See those spines? Hedgehogs are toothed mushrooms. There are other toothed mushrooms in Alaska, but hedgehogs are the only ones that have the bright white teeth underneath the cap. They have thick meaty caps and all the stem meat is edible. Caps can be pretty convoluted and weird shaped, and sometimes the teeth run down the stem. As you saw at the beginning of the show, they can get very large. Usually, though, I see them pretty much the size of a fist. I see all that needles and dirt at the bottom of the stem? It's good to clean that off in the field, just to keep it out of the teeth of the other hedgehogs in the basket. Here I've whittled and shaved off the dirty parts of the mushroom on the left. All that stem is edible. The one on the right hasn't been cleaned yet. Rather than whittle away at the stems in the forest, I usually just cut the stems off where it enters the moss, leaving the dirt and needly parts behind. I already cut the one on the right. It's ready to go in the basket. The one on the left, with the yellow arrow, I'm in the process of cutting off the stem with my trusty Tam's fungi knife. Any knife works well, even my little shant scissors. Okay, here are both techniques. The ones on the left were cut off and the bases of the stems were left behind in the ground. The ones on the right were pried out of the ground whole and the dirt and needles removed with a knife. I prefer the cutting method on the right. My gentleman friend Paul prefers the whittle method. Notice those two hogs on the right? They were handled and cut. Now they're turning orange. That's what mycologists call stains. When a mushroom turns a color upon being bruised or cut, it stains. It's not bad. It's what mushrooms do. They stain. Hedgehogs stain orange. If you handle a lot of hedgehogs, you'll have orange fingers. Oh yeah, see those shavings left behind? I never thought about them much because I'm the only one foraging where I forage. But when I went to Girdwood, I was shocked and dismayed when walking through the woods where other foragers had been. I was out early one morning, but folks had obviously been out a lot earlier. It looked like they'd rushed through the countryside, plundering and pillaging boletes. Substandard ones, caps, stems were tossed aside, shavings and whittlings littered the ground. It made me quite sad. It also made me more aware of the leave no trace mentality, even with mushrooms which will rot away in a day or two. If you're foraging in a public area, please don't be rude. Kick or tuck your rejects and shavings, especially your toilet paper, which will not go away in a day or two, out of sight, under the moss, or under a log. Be considerate of others who want to enjoy the forest. Enough of that diatribe. Let's wander on and see what else we can find. Oh, look at those little orange guys. Chanterelles? They might be the right color, but I don't see a dip or a hole in the cap. What's the definitive test? Turn them over and look for ridges and yellow feet. Well, their stems are sort of oranges, but not really looking like yellow feet. The zinger is no white folds and ridges. These mushrooms have gills, and orange ones at that. Definitely not yellowfoot chanterelles. We'll pass them by. I'm not going to even have time to identify mushrooms this evening, so I won't consider picking them to find out what they are. I think they might be of the genus Cortinarius, but another day. I'm here to walk with you in the woods, looking for my two most frequent, favorite, hard-to-mistake mushrooms, hedgehogs and yellowfeet. Oh, look, there's something white at the base of the tree. Could that be a little hedgehog? Looks promising. White cap, might be kind of weird shape, definitely white stem. But look underneath, no teeth. This guy definitely has gills radiating away from the stem. Remember those hedgehogs? They had teeth, not gills. The mushroom with the white gills is one of the genera that I usually know. These guys are russula. One of the characteristics of russulas is that the stems are brittle. They break with a snap if they're not too soggy, sort of like a piece of chalk. They don't twist and split like yellowfeet stems do. Remember those yellowfoot chants? Look at the gill fold and ridges compared with the russula's neat blade-like gills. Let's continue walking, looking for hedgehogs and chanterelles. You'll sort of get a feel of what habitat they are. Do you see the chants? Is that a little hog in the moss? It certainly is. Here are those hogs with the stems pulled on top and cut on the bottom. The top ones are obviously before cleaning. And here they are after cleaning. It's starting to rain. I think I'll head on down the little animal trail toward the beach. What's this? Is it bear poop? I've never seen any bear sign on Fungi Island before. Let's get a little closer. Wow, it's not bear poop at all. It's Hydenellum regium. I've found these before, and I'm excited because folks who use fungus to dye fabrics and fibers just love them. Depending on the mordant used, it turns lovely shades of blue and green. But of interest to you guys, this bear poop is a tooth fungus. It's got teeth, just like a hedgehog. Oh, and here's another one. Ooh, I'm going to be popular with one of my dyer friends. And for being called bear poop fungus, it's quite lovely in its own way. Here, I've turned it over so you can see those teeth, little spines hanging down from the cap. Well, it's upside down, so they're pointed up. Like hedgehogs, they have thick stems. This is two mushrooms grown together. The stem and cap are very woody. You wouldn't think of eating one. It's surprising to me that they dye such pretty colors. What a great find for the end of my little walk in the woods. Time to paddle home. Oh, look, I have a sea lion escort for the trip home. This guy was hanging around yesterday, too. Every time he gets a salmon, there's a huge frenzy. When he eats a fish that's too big to swallow a whole, he shakes vigorously till chunks break off that he can grab. He doesn't lose much, but the gulls swarm around grabbing all the little scraps that fly off while he's shaking. Then it gets all quiet as he cruises around looking for another meal. Approaching my house after another wonderful walk in the woods. If this rain keeps up, that waterfall is going to get huge. Now I'm home. First thing, lay out my harvest on a towel to sort and dry. See how orange those hedgehogs are on the right from all the handling they've gotten? Those are the chanterelles on the bottom left. The ones in the middle on the left and the big one on the bottom and center are gypsy mushrooms. I didn't talk about them on our walk because they are not idiot-proof. It took me 4 fungus festivals, checking my IDs each time with the experts before I never got it wrong and was confident enough to gather gypsies on my own. There are many things that look like gypsies, and a couple are poisonous, so be careful. That big, ugly gypsy on the bottom looked much better in the wild. I'm going to toss it and its sort of funky stem. Those bear poop hydenellum in the upper left I will slice up and dry in my engine room to give away. Now it's next morning. There are shants in the pan being sautéed, and gypsies in the bowl in the middle, and the hogs are chopped and ready for the pan. Oh, and I got some berries on the walk, but I didn't share them with you. I put my cooked mushroom in 3 little containers in the fridge because I knew I would be eating them in the next few days. I could have frozen them as well. So what did I do with them? I cooked mushroom stuffed ravioli with sun-dried basil sauce with the hedgehogs that very night. The next day for lunch, I used the gypsies to make Julie from Girdwood's mushroom soup with dumplings. I used the chanterelles to make mushroom ragu with zucchini. I liked that dish so well I went out and got some more chanterelles and made it again a couple days later. All those recipes were posted on the 2020 Cordova Fungus Fest Recipe Swap Facebook page. The ravioli picture was the prettiest, so I'll end the slideshow with it. Here's my contact info. Come eat preserved hogs and chants with me in Valdez this winter. And next fall, come find me in the northern part of Prince William Sound. We'll go take another walk in the woods.